When we were looking at the ideal site for where we could position the new Filmhouse, we knew it had to be somewhere central. We knew that we didn't want to find another old building to convert. But also the clear feedback from our audiences was somewhere that's on a bus route, somewhere ideally from their perspective on Lothian Road. I think what they were meaning was just stay where you are and make it better, make the existing Filmhouse better. But actually shifting down 40 yards down onto Festival Square gives us the scope and the freedom to develop the building that we need. Well, there's two key bits of relationship with the City Council. Firstly, they own the land, and what they have indicated to us is that they are happy for us to explore utilising Festival Square to develop the new Filmhouse, but subject to planning permission and subject to raising the funds. And if we get planning permission, then we'll start the more active conversation with the City Council about the nature of that deal. Clearly they have a second role, which is a statutory role, which is they run the planning process, but they're keeping those two things, the desire for the building to be here and the planning process, very separate. I grew up in Edinburgh, lived here for many years, and I know the debate about how public space in Edinburgh has been used, sometimes well, sometimes not so well. I'm also aware there's a limited amount of open public space in the city centre, and the intensity of the debate around that over recent months and years has got more extreme, one could argue. I think one of my observations of the whole existence of Festival Square is it's been a square without a purpose. It's a square without a focus since it was created back in the mid-80s with the building of the Sheraton and Capitol House. And so on a normal day, you'll walk past Festival Square and you'll be struggling to find that many folk using it for any real purpose. For many years there was a BBC big screen and it was busy on the square 4 times in an 11-year period, when Andy Murray won gold at the Olympics and the Wimbledon title the following year, when Chris Hoy won gold at the Olympics, and when William and Kate got married. And apart from that, the place has been deserted. What we bring to the square is, in itself, we'll be bringing up to 2,000 people a day into the square and utilising the spaces in the square just through our very presence. But secondly, and I think possibly much more importantly, we'll become the catalyst for how the square can actually become a used public space in Edinburgh. There'll be different zones within the square that will be able to be utilised for, yes, eating and drinking, but also for art, whether it's performance or art installation. And it will also just become a destination. People will want to come here because there's something to come here for.
Okay, you've talked about this.
Anyone who knows Festival Square knows that it's quite drab. Yes, there's some trees, there's some odd bits of sculpture work, but beyond that, it's a big slabbed area which has no particular reason to be here. You've got 2 office blocks and the rear door of the Sheraton. So even if you go, well, you've got a major hotel, you do have a major hotel, but it's the rear entrance of the Sheraton as opposed to the main entrance, which is at a different level. You've got the Usher Hall right beside you, and it's stunningly beautiful, and you've got the view of the castle behind. And you're going, surely of all the public spaces in Edinburgh, this one should be rammed the whole time, and it isn't. And so from our side, what we're looking to do with the new building is, yes, it will be busy in itself, but it will become a catalyst for bringing people. It will be an attraction in its own right, and it will bring people to the square. And when I say bringing people, it's not just tourists and visitors. This is for the people of Edinburgh. The primary purpose of this new development is for the people of Edinburgh. That's a conversation that we will start with the City Council, assuming we get planning permission. But the proposal that we've got on the table at the moment is that we take a shared responsibility with the other buildings around the square, with the City Council, but also with some key independent voices. So we're very keen to work with local arts organisations so that as we're looking at how we can curate activity on the square and ensure the square is appropriate for the needs of artists and audiences and cyclists and everyone else, that we've taken into account those needs and that we plan and make sure the square is able to deliver that, but also just very simply that it gets weeded, that the trees are looked after, that the seating is kept clean, and so on. And those are things that remain to this day challenges for the existing square. The building design is very much one where we've tried to maximise the use of the square by using the full footprint of the square for the cinemas, but the cinemas are going to be subterranean. So rather than having a massive block above ground, the block that we have above ground is relatively narrow, but what we've used is the full footprint of the square. Above ground, the shape of the building is a lens, an oculus, it's an eye. It's reflecting that film and cinema is an eye on the world, and it's both how people see the world but also how they see themselves. And that's how we want the building to be viewed, is this is an eye in the world, but it's also, we want people to know it as a temple to film. Edinburgh has got temples to every other art form, but not to the most popular art form of the 20th and 21st century. And we think now is the time for film to take its rightful place in that amazing array of other buildings in the city. So this isn't just building a multiplex for the sake of a cinema to show some films. This is very much here as a statement building for the long term.